Tanya, my observation of your young students, even very young ones, that not only that they're musically well developed, that we're talking about sound and phrasing, we're talking about the polishing performances, but one thing I do feel like that it's a strength of you is you start very early to have a very well trained fingers and in hands and body. And I would love for you to start on the technical side of it. How do you lay a solid foundation in the young students, particularly with that? I know you have your own, approaches to scales, arpeggios, and the etudes and churning and Hanon. So I would let you take that, from whatever place that you like to start with.
I have a friend, a famous pianist, and he is the most subtle, the most refined pianist. But he has a joke. He says, before you do all those subtleties, one has to play loud, fast, and for a long time. Of course, it's a joke. But even Bach said, what's there to it? Just press the right keys in the right time. Virtuosity, of course, is not all of the musicianship. It's the side, but it's a very important side. You cannot play hockey. Skating is not the hockey game, but you cannot play hockey unless you unless you feel skates like an extension of your feet. That's why the technical side is important to me. I would think teaching technique in the three-headed way. Let's say Hanon, 5-finger exercises, scales, and etudes. Hanon, you don't have to work for it before it starts working for you. A Hanon starts working for you right away, and it saves time. To have all the goodness of the Hanon, you need to know it. First half of it, first 36 exercises, five-finger exercises, they are instrumental to shape up the student's hand. They are geared towards the most important parts, the most important techniques. Hands flexible, fingers active. I keep on telling, until children know it like mantra, that hands flexible, fingers active. Hanon is very, very good if you read everything that he says. There are wonderful comments that children tend to disregard, and then you're not really advancing very well with Hanon. If you don't read working with the metronome how it goes, you're not well on the way to become a virtuosa. It develops another side of the virtuosa, stamina. Hanon advises to learn 1, 2 exercises and to play them as a chain, 3, and to play them as a chain. If you don't read about it, you're not getting to play with stamina. You really need to know your Hanon because it answers very specific questions sometimes. For example, 46, Hanon 46, accounts for the trill, for the independence of fingers. 47, for example, is the repetition. Double notes, if you work on 50 and 54. And I encourage children to know the Hanon and to look for solving their problems and finding the targeted Hanon.
Tanya, would you mind to show us one example of how you introduced Hanon, and for, let's say, for a student at a quite beginning stage, how you get them started?
We get to the book later. I have my book of scales.
Klever Keys scales. You can buy that, right?
Klever Keys scales. It's made for children who are so young, so they don't know how to read the music, and they don't need to know. It's made with pictures, mapping out the hand positions, the techniques. You can see, begin with the 3 notes. Just place your hand to cover B, C sharp, D sharp. Next picture shows the ring under the 3rd finger. Not the ring that we wear, but the children's ring that you can adjust, that you can tighten or widen. And then at the end, the 2nd position. And with the help of this map, that has lots of animals that children will love. It does have a keyboard where I can write extra exercises. And they have fingers mapping out the broken triad. And then I ask them to go to the forbidden key to make the way to the next scale, which is E major. So every previous scale is a bridge to the next one. Along the way, we have stamped paper where teachers can help children to learn notation if they want, or some extra exercises. So if children follow that map, they get to A major. Every scale, A for the alligator. Alligator follows the fish, so it's easy to play. How does it connect to Hanon? As we go through D major, the duck, and goldfish, G major, and C major, get to the kittens. Some curious kids, they learn to play all those scales just in 1 week. And when we get to C major, I'm just writing the pattern, first pattern of Hanon, Hanon 1. Of course, you say there's notation, but kids don't mind. They don't pay attention to the notes. It's more for me. They just remember. But this is Hanon number 1. As the children finish it, I'm writing the end, and I call it always nice ending. Now play nice ending. And you know, probably like children like to speed up and finish. And then we can always work on the sound that lasts and melts away in the mouth like an ice cream. Yes. I always throw in musicianship, where we follow through on that notion. Hand flexible, fingers active. I love the second exercise a lot. It has rotation, and it works on the difficult fingers. And we call them bad fingers, because there's a pianist joke that probably you all know and love. It's funny that every pianist has 3 good fingers on the hand and 3 bad fingers. And kids laugh because they cannot imagine 6 fingers. But the truth is, when 3rd finger gets into the group with 4 and 5, the 3rd becomes your difficult finger, your bad finger. So that exercise and takes care of the flexible hand and active fingers. So that's how I introduce Hanon. And then, meanwhile, children already learn how to read the music, and they can transition to the book of 60 exercises. When we say scales, we don't mean scales. What we mean is the whole slew of exercises in the key. And actual scale is just to begin with. Then triads and broken chords and long arpeggio. And it all is finished with chromatic scale. So when I say scale, I mean all of it.
I know that you use metronome consistently throughout. Is there a system? Do you increase that little by little? Or how does it work with so many different students at different level in terms of these technical exercises and the speed and the tempo, of course, that you're building?
The individual lessons, so you don't have, it's not one size fits all. You stay with your comfortable tempo. The metronome gives you those increments that's so gentle, that's so caring. You go from one to another, you don't even notice that you're playing faster. And before you know, the tempo is growing on you. But I don't recommend children to go to the faster tempo until the music is completely steady and effortless, until there's the stress has to be gone. If you do something from the early on, little children, they are fearless. The fear and stress comes as they mature. You have to catch them when they're soft.
I know that you use a lot of etudes, especially churning and things like that. Would you like to address that for a few minutes?
When my daughter was young, she was studying with a wonderful pianist. If we have Russian pianists, they know Artabalevskaya. She was a guru in children's piano education, and he was the right hand. He just stressed the value of studies. I use Chernigermer. Selected studies. I picked one study because it has so many sides of it, so many sides to it. I will look at my papers because I'm afraid to miss something that's very important to me. This is exercise 26. 26. Some studies are very limited in what exercises we can do. For example, the exercises with groups of 4. When you have groups of 6, like this one, Then opportunities for the exercises are like growing exponentially. Some studies have lots of straight lines, and they prevent me from introducing the most musical, the most amazing for the musicality exercise. It's technical exercise, though it's very musical. And, it's not formal and not mechanical. But to use this exercise, music has to wind. You cannot use this exercise, you cannot use this, I call it three-step exercise, unless the line is wavy. This one has the line, music line that's wavy. What are the three steps? And why three steps? The foundation behind it, you have good pianism when hands and fingers, they separate the jobs. They have to separate the jobs. Our hands, and being Russian, I say hand when I mean an arm, and upper arm, and forearm. There's only one word. Sometimes I mean hand, and sometimes I mean arm. It depends on the distances. If distances are small, then hand, which is like a lever, is short. And when distances are wide, then the lever becomes the forearm and even the upper arm. It all depends on the distances. Hands are designed, they work the best when they go left and right, right and left, when they go east and west, east and west. Fingers move vertically, north and south. And the problem becomes when children start moving fingers right and left, substitute for what the hand should do. And hand helps the fingers to go up and down. That's what fingers have to do. So this exercise really teaches hand to do its job and fingers to do their job. If hand doubles the finger's job, children play choppy. So the first step, that needs learning, that needs adjusting. You have to feel fingers like handicap. They're hanging like bristles. And work as a group. And the hand has to be absolutely weightless. First, children pretend that they're playing with a hand, though they play with fingers only lightly. And I'm saying, fingers work as a group. They don't move. You're playing with fingers. You're not playing with a hand. Do you know how I know your hand is motionless? All done with a hand as a group. And this exercise takes many, many takes until it becomes even and all the sounds come out. All the sounds lightly come out. If some don't come out, it means your curvature is not right size. The curvature has to be just the right size. If B, for example, doesn't answer, you did not pull far enough. Fingers don't work at all. It goes a little faster. Next step, same thing. Fingers work as a group. They don't work individually. But now fingers do the second job. I didn't say that I see two jobs of the fingers. First job is to press the key and to get off the way, to let the key finish the move. We press the key and get out of the way to let the piano action bring the key up. So the keys the fingers work on the keys, bringing them down and getting off of the way. But there's a second job, to support the weight of your arm. So now the weightless is gone. The arm weighs naturally, and fingers just recipients of the weight. They just support the weight of your hand. The word support I introduced from day one. Support. When children don't understand the word support, I suddenly lean on their shoulder. And most of them strengthen the shoulder. They don't want me to drop. And I'm saying, you see what you did? You gave me the strong shoulder. That's a support. So that second step involves the support. But fingers don't work individually. In the third step, now your hand learned exactly how to move around, how to loop around, not too much, not too little. If you move around too much, then the speed is not that great. If you don't move far enough, sounds disappear. So between the brain and between the muscle memory, there's an understanding and figuring out. And now when the hand figured out how to move around, then we ask the fingers to use the high finger stroke. And it all comes together. So the hand does its own job, and fingers do their own job. And now we're moving on to the finger exercises. I call them finger exercises, rhythm exercises. And they're good for you in more ways than one. A, they develop the automatic memory. I would call it muscle memory. And your memory has, your auditory memory has the memory of that closeness. Or -6, you remember, your auditory memory is also muscle memory. It's connected to the muscle memory. Your visual memory, it's also muscle memory. It's correlation between what you see on this, in the music notation and the distances, correlation between the distances that's so much tinier in the notes and wider on the piano, and that correlation is also the muscle memory. And emotional memory, it's also the muscle memory. You experience the sadness of music, and your face reflects with the muscles. Everything is a muscle memory. So I will use the word automatic, and I don't want to apologize for the word automatic. Then B, they build up the security. We know that repetition is the mother of learning. And you have to repeat the lines a lot to remember and rely and be secure. I want to play quite a few, and I want you to count how many different rhythms I can make. The first, I deal with groups of two. Dotted rhythm. I'm not going to play the whole etude. I'm going to play just the snippets, and then you reverse it and you play that Scotch snap. Then you move to the groups of three. I transport the long note onto the second one in a group. It's fun too, and it boggles your mind a little, but it doesn't let you doesn't let the sense of novelty to dull down. And then I transport the accent to the third note. I stay with groups of three. I play three slow and three fast. I reverse them. Let's move to the groups of four. Now you have four versions. On the second one out of four. On the third one out of four. On the last out of four. We can take that group of six and play two long, four quick. We can reverse it. We can play two and two. I didn't do that yet. I can reverse that. Then if you take groups of six, there are six versions. The second one. Now the emphasis is on the third note. On the fourth. On the fifth. And on the last one. You can play 6 plus 1. I did do something that I don't let the students do. Make a mistake and go on. I missed and went on. But I'm kind to myself. I'm cruel with my students. Did anybody care to count how many there were?
Lost count. Lost count.
But let the fun begin. Let the fun begin when we do asymmetrical. When you deal with a group of 4 or 3 or 6, that's familiar. When you see the groups of 6, but you play the rhythm made of 2 long and 3 short, that's the real mind game and the real mind boggler. Of course, I'm too excited to be here right now. I'm much better when I'm contained in my own room. But I'll try. 2 and 3. And if I mess up, I'll do it again. I just want to try how well I work under the stress.
Tanya, I gave you 10 seconds because you only have 10 minutes left. So.
Oops. Just as well you can do 3 and 4. That's fun.
Can I, there are 2 questions related to what you just did. One is, it sounds like you start with 4-note broken chords, not 3 notes. Is that correct?
I started when?
With the question is, it sounds like you start with 4-note broken chords.
4-note
broken chords. Is that correct, or not 3 notes?
I always begin with the dotted rhythm. They are groups of 2, but just as well you can treat them as groups of 6. But I think group of 2. Why is it important? Because the velocity develops in a very caring way. Dotted rhythm, you only can play too fast.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Everybody can do too fast. Then you do 3 fast. That's a little harder. Then 4 fast. When you do in groups of 6, so that's how the velocity extends, you go from simple to more difficult.
Thank you so much. I do want to move. Thank you. This is it's going to be a treasure hunt. Everybody will spend time to really. I personally, I love this. I know it benefits so much. All the evenness and the steadiness and the sound and technique and the velocity all comes from these little exercises. And how you prepare a student for recitals and how do you polish a piece?
I didn't know, but preparing for that, for our get-together, it made me think and analyze. And I was thinking of it, and you know what? I figured I don't have a set moment of crossing, like crossing over to the finishing line. I don't. All the ingredients of the fine performance I do mix in from day one, like a pancake batter. You mix in sugar and butter, you cannot add them later. Fine performance begins from the moment I say the name and the character. But the character, you have to ask the children the character maybe a couple lessons before the show. Because in their mind, we work so much on the dynamics and on the expression and on the balance and pedal. So those very important things kind of start dominating. And if you ask anybody, nobody would come up with character before the performance. They would rather say expression or pedal or the balance or dynamics. And I just want them to know that they're all subservient to the imagery, subservient, but you have to remind them. I just want to tell you how I prepare them for the performance. Though of course we work and on the dynamics and on expression and pedal before the performance, as the tempo grows up, as the tempo builds up on them, of course those things that needed adjustment. When you play slower, your dynamic is more exaggerated. The sense of rhythm is exaggerated. The sense of beat and the counting and the downbeat. And before the performance, the closer to the performance, you ask them to play as much as, forget the bar lines, play like there's no bar lines, play like there's no beats. And dynamic, of course, is not exaggerated that much in the faster tempo. The pedal gets adjusted. Yeah. When children right from the beginning ask me how to press the pedal when and how far, I say we'll finalize when you play in the real tempo. The real tempo will get you there. Right now we cannot say. But I want to tell you that I train children to walk to the piano. And some children walk really funny and really awkward, and I show them how to walk more elegantly, and ask them to do second time. And if second time it doesn't improve, I still say, "Oh, that's great," because I don't want them to be self-conscious. I don't. They're children. If they walk funny, it's cute. It's not a problem. I teach them to take care of the bench, of the position. I'm a classical pianist. I know that some people like to sit lower than the standards require. Some people who hold the hand differently. It's not my job to take care of the exceptions. I can only tell them about the rules. The kneecaps below the keys. And, sit as high as, so your elbows and wrists on the same level with the keys. So I teach them before they go on stage, before they sit down and play, to adjust the bench to what they know, to what I taught them. I teach them to try the pedal, because each time the pedal works differently. Some tighter, some looser. And I teach them, press the pedal all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, halfway up, all the way up, halfway down, and all the way up. So they know all the levels of the pedal. That's very important. I'm asking them to move in the tempo of the music. I don't want to hear the answer that I don't want to hear. So I seldom ask how much they practice. I don't want to be disappointed. But at least I ask them to practice 15 minutes longer than the lesson. Because at the lesson I just show, but at their practice, they have to make sure. So if the lesson is 45 minutes, at least practice an hour. But I have no way to insist. I have no way to check. It's on them. So we judge by improvement. I'm just trying to find the piece that really absorbs the techniques. I remember I was in the previous century, I was on the international festival in Biarritz in France, and I happened to be with my 3 students. Nelita True, she died recently, but I love her, the pianist Nelita True from Eastman School of Music. She says, "Tanya, you have students. Why don't I give them the master class instead of that workshop. And my student played Brilliant Rondo by Weber. And Nelita True told in front of like 1,000 piano teachers, I was so happy. She says, look at the piece that she gave. That's a real teacher. It has scales, it has chords, it has arpeggio, the whole array of piano techniques. I picked those pieces that can make up for absence of time to do it properly. Hanon, scales, just scales. When I was a child, scales with all the chords in thirds, in sixths, in decims, opposite motion, all the arpeggi, short and long, it would take up the whole hour. Just scales alone. I cannot ask for that. I have to be creative. I'm very creative.